Hello everybody, Oracle K76 from the interwebs here. I wanted to cover banks versus credit unions today, and this is another topic that I'm going to cover with basic finances. I'm going to do these in really short segments just because most people don't have the time to watch 20 or 30 minutes at a time. So this topic is going to focus just on banks versus credit unions. And if you want to look at my channel, you'll be seeing more future videos to come, and they'll be on a variety of topics dealing with basic financing and investing. So let's get started talking about banks. So the biggest difference between banks and credit unions is banks typically have a lot more fees involved with sometimes just having a checking account, using some of their cards. All these things are typically going to have fees involved with banking. The banks may have a better rate than a credit union sometimes, maybe not. You just have to check around. Banks are owned by stockholders or shareholders, and why that's important is the main purpose of a bank when it's owned by a stockholder is to make money for the stockholders. We're going to see with credit unions it's a little bit different, and that's part of the reason why you have fees and some other things involved with banks is because ultimately they're trying to make money for their stockholders. When it comes to the board of directors and certain decisions being made for the bank, the stockholders are the ones that get to vote to determine that. If you open up a bank account, that doesn't give you the right to vote in who's running things at the bank and any major decisions that they have. All of those are determined by the stockholders, so you don't get a vote. Banks, because of the nature of how they work, typically are going to be located a lot more places than credit unions. There's a lot of banks that are worldwide even, so you're going to be able to find their locations and their ATMs in places that you may not with a credit union. So that's a bonus to banks. Anyone that has money can open up an account at a bank. There's no requirements. We're going to see with credit unions there are some requirements. But for a bank, as long as you have the minimum required to open the account, you can usually open a checking or savings account. They typically provide credit card services. Some of these may be better credit cards as far as the rewards you get from when you spend money with the credit card. Credit unions also have that. The banks may offer better deals sometimes. Finally, loans. This is one of the primary purposes of a bank. They offer signature loans, car loans, mortgage loans, and business loans. So that's also for credit unions as well, but I wanted to point that out that that's one of the major purposes of a bank. And I'm not covering everything that banks and credit unions do. I'm just covering the high-level important stuff. So let's dive into credit unions. These are owned by the members. So when you go in, sign up for a credit union account, you are now a member. Now, as I talked about earlier, you can actually vote on some of the board of directors and other major decisions. The goal of a credit union is not the same as a bank. For a bank, we talked about they were trying to make money for the stockholders. A credit union, that's not their goal. Their goal is to look out for the financial welfare of the customers. I've actually seen where this comes into play is a bank will give you a loan in situations where a credit union won't. A credit union wants to make sure you can pay for the loan and it's not going to put you in a bind. So they're going to be a little bit more concerned about your financial well-being than a bank is. So sometimes it can be a disadvantage because if you want a loan and your debt to income ratio is too high, they won't actually let you take it because they know it's not a financially good decision. Now, for a bank, we said if they have money, you can join. Credit union is different. You typically have to have some sort of criteria to join. For Navy Federal Credit Union and USAA, you used to have to be a member of the military. They've expanded that to family members, and I believe USAA you can actually join just about anyone. Then there's actually companies that have credit unions. You have to be an employee with that company to be a part of the credit union. So you have to learn for your area, the credit union is available, what the criteria is. They also provide the credit card services, and they also provide loans. So this was a high-level view of banks versus credit unions. Hopefully it's helpful to you. I think it's important to know the difference between the two, something that they probably should teach us in high school, and they do not typically. So I hope this was beneficial. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below, and have a great day.